Hello, everybody. Good morning. How has your week been? I hope it has been splendid. Good morning, everybody. Who is awake? Oh, who is awake this morning? My name is Nikki Adekunle once again, and we are here to talk about, our relationships. And this morning, we want to talk about something really very interesting. And before we go ahead, I just want you to listen to this. Let's just have a quick break. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am so excited to be here as usual. This is another Saturday morning, and I am extremely excited to be here. I hope that I would have some people join me soon. Yeah, let me just quickly share this video so that I can have more people follow us. Please, you can help us to share the video, help us to distribute the video. And I just want to quickly do the same now. So just give me 1 minute to quickly share this video. See that? I can't seem to find the video. Okay. Maybe I should just. Sorry, 1 minute, everybody. Let me just quickly see how I can share the video. Okay. I think maybe I'll be able to do that later. As it's where now, I'm always having challenges. So my name once again is Nike Adekunle, and I'm always excited to be here on Saturday mornings like this to educate you on your relationship. And I am a couple therapist and a relationship coach, and that is what I do. I'm always excited to help people work on their relationships and also to give them, to help people see the things that are wrong in such a way that you are included and at the same time you are growing, because it matters. It matters that we should be able to grow. It matters that we should be able to, get the dynamics right, get the dynamics in relationship right. And that is why we do this every Saturday. Like I always say, we are going back to class to learn the fundamentals of relationships. So today, last week we spoke about being able to identify healthy relationships, and today I want us to talk about last week I said we will go a step ahead to discuss how we go about setting up these unhealthy dynamics in our relationship. So today our topic is, how unhealthy relationship patterns are set up. How do you set up unhealthy relationship dynamics in your own relationship? How do you set up these patterns in your own relationship? How do I set it up in my own relationship as well? That is what we are going to be talking about today. And I hope that we're going to have a good time together. So, dysfunction in a relationship is usually referred to as dysfunction is what is making the relationship unhealthy. Dysfunction in relationship prevents us as well from, attaining intimacy, which is the ultimate. It prevents us from experiencing happiness, and, it kills the enthusiasm that we have, because most of us, we usually will feel like, there's a ginger, like we will say in Nigeria, there's a ginger that we have around relationships that will not be there anymore if there's dysfunction in that relationship. And so dysfunction in a relationship is a big deal. And when there's dysfunction in a relationship, it is, usually termed unhealthy, because when the attributes that are supposed to be present in your relationship, when they are not present, and the ones that are supposed to be absent are not absent, then it means that you have a dynamic on your hand that is, unhealthy. And that is, that is what determines the health. The things that are supposed to be present, if they are present, the things that are not supposed to be present, if they are not present, those are the things that determine the health of your relationship. And so last week we talked about the things that you should look out for in a healthy relationship. And maybe I should just quickly do a brief recap of what we did last week. Let me quickly do a brief recap of what we did last week. Last week we talked about identifying the attributes that make up a healthy relationship, and the attributes that are supposed not to be present in a healthy relationship. So last week, I remember we talked about, the emotional climate in your home. The emotional climate in your home or relationship, if you're married, should basically be stable over time. You should ensure that you continue to build stability. That's our musicians will say, that thing that makes your heart go jiggy jiggy jam 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 should reduce. When we start out with a lot of intensity, and if we're not careful, we'll continue to look for that intensity in the relationship. But usually relationships are not about intensity. It's about how we are able to stabilize over time. So last week, I remember we talked about the emotional climate in your home or in your relationship, that over time it should become stable. Then we talked about having reduced need to pretend. If your relationship is healthy, you should have a reduced need to continue to pretend in that relationship, because you are supposed to, when we start out, we are supposed to start putting our best foot forward. But as time passes, as time goes on, we are supposed to get to that place where we are able to, reduce that. We encourage each other not to continue to pretend around each other. Let the real self of your partner come out. The real you should come out, because eventually they're going to be living with the real you. Then we talked about, I remember last week we talked about, in every healthy relationship, there should be moderate jealousy. And we described what moderate jealousy should be like. It should be, everybody should want to try to protect their territory. You should not be in any relationship where you are unable to protect, and fight for the love of your partner. It shouldn't be. You should be able to, be reasonably jealous. And we talked about acidic jealousy last week. It's not acidic jealousy, but moderate jealousy where you want to keep your territory. And we talked about a lot of consequence if you don't encourage people to be moderately, jealous over you, or if you allow them to be overly jealous as well. Then we talked about manipulation last week. I remember number 4, we talked about manipulation, that every healthy relationship should be free of manipulation, whether the manipulation as a result of guilt tripping people or taking away their free will, or whether it is upfront and loud, like I said last week, or very subtle. We need to be able to do away with with manipulation in our relationship. Then I said in a relationship that is healthy, we should be able to argue effectively. Argument is not a bad sign. It shows that you are able to, in a relationship, if you can argue effectively, it means that you are able to speak your truth. You are able to determine, you have a mind of your own and you have a choice and you can speak your truth. We talked about growing vulnerability last week. We talked about privacy in a relationship. That in every healthy relationship, there should be a kind of passive. And I remember I said last week that privacy, sorry. And I remember I said last week that it is passive aggression for people to continue to threaten their partner with the information they shared when they were together, or write it on social media, divulging secrets and private moments that you have shared simply because you are no longer in good terms, or you want to punish the person, or you want to get back at that person. So I remember that we talked about it last week, that we should not be passive aggressive with our spouses or partner. Then I remember that we also said that we should have regulated expectations. Our expectations should be regulated. There's no perfect marriage. There's no perfect relationship. There's no perfect partner anywhere. We should try to, manage our expectations. And we also said a good relationship is that relationship that's one of the pointers of health in a relationship is if you are able to take time away from each other and know when to take time away and know when to spend time together. So we did all of that last week, but I said that there is a way that this week, last week I promised that we're going to go a step further this week to talk about how we set up unhealthy relationship patterns in our relationship. How do we set up these unhealthy relationship patterns that we get, intertwined in that space where your partner is being abusive towards you, or you are being abusive towards your partner. You know that it's wrong. You felt that you were too smart to be treated like that, but somehow you were still treated like that. So how do I know? How do I know that I am the one that actively? And sometimes we think that we are not, because you don't know when you are setting it up doesn't mean that it was not actively set up. Because most of us, we actively set up these dynamics in our relationship without knowing the implication of what we are doing. And so this morning, it will be my utmost joy to be able to open your eyes, to be able to open my own eyes as well to the way we passively, without knowing, without understanding the consequence, set up unhealthy relationship dynamics. So let's now start. Before I talk about the how we set it up, I really want to talk about why do we usually set up these unhealthy patterns. Why would you be in a relationship and this kind of pattern will be set up? What causes it? Why do we actually set up unhealthy relationship patterns? And after I discuss that, then we'll now talk about how we actively set it up. So the first thing that I want us to discuss today is, people are generally deficient. A lot of people are generally deficient and they refuse to grow. That is why we have this kind of pattern being built in relationships. And what do I mean? That there is, because of the deficiency in these people, automatically you will build an unhealthy relationship pattern. And maybe I should give you example of what I mean. Number one, I said deficiency in people. Number one, there are people that are afraid to have an identity. They are afraid to have an identity. They don't want to they are very indecisive. They don't want to make a decision that they will be pinned to, that, okay, you did this. And so they are always giving explanations. They are always giving excuses for the things that, for not showing up in that relationship. There are people that they've learned how to, just depend on other people. They don't want to, they're afraid of having an identity and to take on a personality in that relationship. Secondly, we have people, the kind of people that build up, this unhealth. Secondly, we have people that are people pleasers. People pleasers. In a relationship, you see them, they are just there. They want to do everything their partner wants them to do, and they think that it is a good thing for your partner to tell you, okay, jump, and you say how high, or for your partner to demand anything. Your own is just that I'm there to service this person. Good morning, Abuja Mobile Brader. Good morning. Thank you very much. So people will just be there. They are just people pleasers generally. And if you have a people pleaser in your relationship, you will not be able to build a healthy relationship, because the person's primary aim of being in that relationship is just to, do the biddings of the other person. And if there's that kind of person, it means that the equation is not complete. It's supposed to be 1 + 1 that will make 2, but now you have 1 + nothing. So there's really nothing in that relationship about the other person. So that also is a very big deal. Then we have people that are weak. Why do we have, unhealthy relationship? We have people that show up in relationship as the weak partner. And what do I mean by that? There are some people that want to be taken care of. There are some people that need saviors. They need to be saved from themselves. They need to be saved from the things that are happening around them. They need a knight in shining armor to come and rescue them. And so they are always showing up in a relationship as people that are weak. And when you have a weak partner, there will be unhealth in that relationship. There will not be health in that relationship. And, weak people, it might be weak financially. So you have to carry me. You know that I don't know what to do. Or even weak physically. And I'm not saying that someone that is sick is a problem. But what I'm saying is that, they are just there. The side of them that show up in that relationship is weak. They always need their partner to save them. They always need their partner to approve of them, to give them the lead, and that is all that is to that relationship. And so if you have someone that shows up in a relationship as weak, that relationship that's their relationship of marriage is almost doomed to fail. It's almost doomed to be unhealthy. Is almost doomed to be unhealthy. Then, if you also have somebody that is very powerful, the person is very powerful. The person is actively looking for people that he can save, because that's what gives that person meaning as well. Because that person just feels like, once I get someone that I can, carry along, that I can be there to save them, because maybe from their own background and experience and exposure, that is, they need to be strong. They need to, and you will see it's not just a male thing, because people will think that, okay, it's the man, they're always looking for weak female. But there are some women as well. You will see them, they are doing well with their career, they are doing well in whatever they are doing, and yet all they need is a weak person, somebody they can take care of, somebody they can, financially the person is not there, so they need that person to feel strong, to feel powerful. So it is also about the thing that you are getting, not just the thing that you are giving. So in that relationship, what you get is the sense of power. What you get in that relationship is a sense of power. And so a lot of people will do anything to be in that kind of relationship so that they can experience power, and it gives them meaning as well. So examples of people like that and why they are like that as well is that people that their mothers always saved, their mothers or fathers always thought for them. What do you, before they have the need, they had already thought about it and they have already provided it. So they don't need to do anything to earn all the favors in their life. It is just once they show up, whatever they want will be given to them. It is not, they don't need to do anything. So their fathers taught them how to be saved. Their parents taught them how to be saved. Or some people as children, they were the ones that were saving their parents. And so they have learned to be powerful. And so now anybody that they need in their life is someone that they can save, or they can be the knight in shining armor, whether male or female, like I said, is gender neutral. But people will always show up in relationship as either powerful or weak. And when you have that kind of dynamics, already there's unhealth in that relationship. People that, another example is people that cannot live on a budget, and so their partner is the one that have to think for them. They just have to be babied around. So whether you show up as weak or as strong or as too strong in a relationship is also not good. That means you are having an active partner and a dormant partner, which is usually not good for a relationship. Secondly, are we going to be able to finish this thing today? Okay, wherever we stop, we'll continue next week. Okay, secondly, another thing that I also think is that people that don't understand the benefits of a healthy relationship, they once you don't understand the benefits, so you don't even know why you are doing it anyway. So yours is just, okay, this relationship, I want to sabotage it. There are some people that, actively, before they even got married, whether male or female, they have made up their mind that any man cannot tell me this, any woman cannot do this to me. So before they even enter the relationship at all, they've made up their mind on how they want to show up. And so people that already, and if their plan is to show up in a negative way, if they have a vendetta mission, sometimes it makes it, it makes already you have unhealth in your hands. That kind of relationship is doomed to be unhealthy. So we need to also be aware of that as well, that there are people that they don't understand, and because they don't understand, they actively, that is why they will have it. But if they knew the benefits, they wouldn't have allowed themselves to be to go the other way. So they don't understand the implication of being weak or strong or the suffering partner or anything. They just have an agenda before they ever got into the marriage, and which is also not good. And that is one of the reasons why people will have unhealthy relationships on their hands. Another reason, which is number 3 now, I've spoken about showing up without an identity in your marriage, the deficiency in people. Then secondly, we spoke about people that don't understand the benefits and advantages of, a healthy relationship. Then number 3, people that don't understand their own self-worth, their value. People that don't understand their value, usually they create unhealthy relationships. And what do I mean by that? If you don't understand what your contributions are in a relationship, you don't know who you are, and you get married. For instance, let me give this, this example. It's all over the place that usually when, let's say, for instance, a billionaire or a millionaire or something wants to get married, and he gets married to a very poor pauper. And, everybody looks at that situation as the pauper is the one that is enjoying, this person just came to change your life. If the pauper or the poor lady goes into the relationship with that mentality herself, the tendency is that she herself would, continue to believe that this person is doing me a whole favor. But there are so many ways. And if you have that mentality, you will create unhealth in that relationship, because somehow you have met your savior and this person is, your everything, and you don't even know what your contributions are. So it is possible that the person begins to treat you lower than you deserve simply because you feel like the money factor is the only factor? Have you thought about other things that you are contributing to the relationship? Have you thought about the fact that he can't marry himself? Have you thought about the fact that he can't keep himself warm? Have you thought about the fact that even if you are not contributing financially to that home, you might be contributing something that is more than just finance. You are preparing his meal, you are trying to make, him feel comfortable, keep his things, manage the home, everything that also involves. And so when you don't know what you are contributing, the problem, the thing is that most times you will show up as weak in your relationship, and it will also, affect the balance of power in that relationship, and you would be, you will be considered as, weak, which always tilts the balance in a relationship and makes it unhealthy. So we need to know who we are in a relationship. You need to define who we are. And we are in Africa. Most of the time, our parents are supposed to tell us who we are. They are supposed to guide us, give us an identity. And before we get married, we are supposed to know who we are and what we can contribute. But usually it doesn't happen. And if that has happened to you already, I think that you should begin to find out, who am I? What are my contributions? What am I good at? So that you know how you are showing up in your relationship, so that you are not the one that is making your relationship unhealthy. So that is another thing. Then number 4, people that do not understand what their contribution does to the balance of power. They don't understand their contributions in the relationship. And what do I mean by this? You can be in a relationship and just believe that, okay, I'm in a marriage, I'll be using it interchangeably, whether you're married or not. So in your own marriage, you might show up as someone that, if you don't understand what your contributions are, you continue to make the same errors and your unhealth will continue. Say, for instance, you are in a relationship and your partner shows up as weak. And because your partner shows up, it's a kind of cycle. Your partner shows up as weak and you are the one that will have to save the partner. And when that happens, everybody has taken a role. So your partner is weak, I'm strong. And that's why we are codependent of some sort. And that is what helps us to, create our unhealth somewhat. So if you don't understand that what you are doing for the person that is saving, that is the savior, if you don't understand that the contribution that you're having to that relationship is that you have become an enabler. You enable the person. For instance, your partner has problems with spending and you are reluctant to put your partner on a budget. You are reluctant to help your partner grow out of that thing, whatever it is that is holding your partner back. And you continue to encourage your partner to, continue to live in that unhealth. You continue to save the person, or maybe a drunkard. You are married to a drunkard that will always drink and fall inside the gutter. And your own is to continue to go and pick the person up, wash the person. And because you don't want to see shame, you always go and rescue and rescue and rescue. Rescuing is not the option. Initially you might do that, but because you love the person and you want the person to grow, you may not want to continue like that. So, but people don't understand that by not understanding what your contributions are, the moment there's an enabler, bad behavior continues. And so, if you are in your relationship and you are the enabler and you continue to enable, so you are showing up as an enabler and you don't know. And that is what your contribution is in that relationship, which continues to make the relationship unhealthy. And sometimes we are in a relationship, we don't understand that the contribution that we are having is also, encouraging an unhealthy pattern. That's how we are showing up in a relationship. It might be towards your children. Your children will cry, I want something. And because you don't want them to throw tantrums, you quickly give them what they want. Already you are showing up by giving them what they want quickly and saying that, oh, keep quiet, don't cry. You are creating a dynamic that, is unhealthy. And so we should always pay attention to the way we are showing up in our relationship, because once patterns are formed, they are very difficult to break. And on the other hand, too, if you understand what your contributions are, you will know that it can bring you joy, peace, and intimacy if you show up appropriately. So we all have something that we are contributing to our relationship, and we should be aware of it. We should be aware of what we are contributing to our relationships. Then, number 5 now, like I said, number 1, we talked about, what did we talk about in number 1? Number one, the deficiency in people that are afraid, people that are people pleaser, people that are weak, people that are powerful. That's number one. Number two, we are talking about, people that don't understand healthy relationship benefits. They don't understand the benefits of a healthy relationship, in which they they encourage a dormant partner and an active partner, and that dynamics doesn't always work, and it encourages unhealth in a relationship. Then we talked about understanding your own value, the things that you're bringing to the table. If you understand what you're bringing to the table, it reduces the pressure to make your relationship fall into an unhealthy space. It reduces the pressure to make your relationship fall into an unhealthy place. Then number 4, we talked about understanding your own contribution, the way you are showing up, how it contributes to the issues that you are having. A lot of us encourage so many things that we do not know that is what we are encouraging. And I said that the way we are showing up in our relationship, we are either enabling bad behavior or encouraging it. So we need to know how to show up in such a way that our relationship will become better. Then number 5 now, people that don't know how to negotiate for better. If you have people in a relationship that do not know how to negotiate for better, there will be unhealth in that relationship. Probably because they don't want to complain, they don't want confrontation, they don't want, they just want things to just lie low. And so because of that, they can't negotiate for what they think, they can't negotiate for anything. They are just there. However you treat me is okay. I'll just keep quiet. And that's one too encourages unhealth in the relationship. We are supposed to be able to show up and show up well, negotiate for the things that you want in a relationship. After all, it's not a prison. It is a relationship, and it is a relationship that should represent 2 people. It should represent 2 people, not just one person. Then, number 6, we need to be able to communicate. People that are unable to communicate their intentions and their authentic self. People that are unable to communicate their intentions and their authentic self, usually they are, they have problem in their relationship. Their relationships are usually unhealthy. And what do I mean by that? People that are, like I said earlier, it's also a part of being able to negotiate. You can't talk about the true things that you're feeling. Your partner does something to you and you just hint. Some people will hint instead of coming out straight to say, this thing that you have done, I don't like it, or being able to just put your thoughts across, your authentic self, not the self that you want, because a lot of us, we also want to show up as perfect in our relationship, and the need for perfection, that is, it will drive you to behave, in very uncoordinated ways, because you will not be the same person over time. Today you are this, tomorrow you are that, because what you are showing is a side of you that you want people to see, not the only self that can be consistent. The only part of you that can be consistent is the real part of you, is the true part of you, and that is the only part that can be, authentic. And so people that always just, do what people want, they generally don't have an opinion of their own. They can't tell you what they are thinking of. They can't tell you what they are out and about. And if they want to even say it, they only hint. Did you see that? Did you look at the room properly? Maybe there's something there that the person wants you to see, or maybe you didn't do something. Maybe you took your towel and dropped it on the floor. And instead of the person to say, please don't always put your towel on the floor. It makes the job ×2 for me, because I will still have to wash, then I will have to hang again. Please always put your towels in their appropriate place. But the person will hint, see the floor. Maybe there's, they are unable to negotiate. They are unable to talk about their real authentic self. And, that's also, is it's it's something that breeds unhealth in a relationship when your authentic self does not show up in a relationship and you are unable to communicate it. It's one thing to even know what your authentic self is, but also being able to pass the message across in a way that the other person understand. It's one of those things that causes unhealth in a relationship. And so I would want to go to how we set up this unhealthy relationship pattern. But I'm looking at my time and it looks like we may not be able to finish it today. So maybe what I will do is that I will just mention, and next week we would expatiate on it. So how do we set up unhealthy relationship pattern in a relationship? How do we set up unhealthy relationship pattern in a relationship or in our marriages? How do we set it up? I think that if we want to answer that question, I would want us to think about you going to a new environment. If you picture yourself in a new environment, you are going there for the very first time. And most of the people that are also in that space, they are coming for the first time. Maybe a good example would be going to a camp where we are all meeting there, or going to school. When you get to that kind of place, what would usually happen is that everybody would be looking for their own connection. You will be looking for your tribe of people. You will be looking for connection, and you will also be looking at fostering relationships with people. And if you think about that, it is the same thing that happens in marriage as well. When you are in a marriage situation, what usually happens is that in that marriage situation, you are just meeting your partner. It can be likened to going to a camp, and you want to meet this person, you want to know this person, and you want to learn how to make connections with this person. The truth is that in every relationship that we are fostering or we are entering into, we need to understand that there is a lot of teaching that is going on, and there is a lot of there's a lot of teaching going on. Somebody is teaching and learning going on in that space at the same time. And so if you are in a relationship with your partner, the responsibility is on you to teach your partner about you. They don't know you. You are the one that would teach them about you. Imagine like that camp, for instance, that we talked about. You will be in that space. Somebody will try to maybe sleep on your bed. And if you're somebody that does not like somebody sleeping on their bed, you should be able to say, oh no, I don't like it when you sleep on my bed. By the time you tell people like twice or three times, they will understand that, oh, this person doesn't want somebody to sleep on his bed. And after a while, or maybe somebody wearing your slippers or wearing your clothes, you begin to educate people. And the more you educate, they are also learning. So there's an education that goes on in relationship that a lot of us are unaware of. And that is what causes some of the unhealth that we experience in our relationships. We need to be aware that there is a lot of teaching, a lot of training, a lot of, education going on. And so if we understand this, we will know that this is how the dynamics operates in our marriages. And I'm looking at the time now, and it feels like because I will not want to break that flow. I will not want to break that flow. So what I will do today is maybe I will conclude on this. Then next week we talk about how it is set up, part of it. So we are going to have how unhealthy relationship patterns are set up, part 2. So that would happen next week, because if I don't want to go into it and we're unable to finish, and I don't want this to be too long, so that people will be able to follow us, because when it's too long, you will lose concentration somewhere along the line. But for now, let me just, in trying to wrap this up, let me say that, Patterns, patterns that you establish in your relationship, established patterns in a relationship, they are very, very difficult to recognize. It is possible for you to see a pattern in another person's relationship. It is possible to see a pattern when you are looking outward, but when you are looking inward, it's really very difficult. It feels like you are too close, you are too entrenched to see what is happening, and so some of us got to this space without thinking about it. Now we are unhappy. Like most of us, we had dreams, we had aspirations, we knew what we wanted in a relationship, we planned for bliss, but somehow along the line, we are not getting the exact thing that we signed up to get. And so it becomes a bit discouraging. And like I said earlier in my opening, you lose the enthusiasm with which you started. But we should understand that now that we are at this space, what do? I think that one of the reasons why I'm doing this is for us to recognize the pattern in our relationship and be able to know how to break it so that we can build something healthy. It is only health. It is only the health of your relationship that can guarantee happiness. It is only the health of your relationship that can guarantee happiness. If you're in that relationship and it's unhealthy, you can't be happy in that relationship. There are things that will continue to set you backwards. There are things that will continue to, be of concern to you, that will not make you flow in that place that you want to flow. So established relationship patterns are difficult to recognize. Secondly, established relationship patterns are difficult to change. They are difficult to change. The way you showed up in the relationship, after a while, people take you for that thing. And even if you're trying to become, you're trying to evolve, you're trying to transform, people don't usually see it easily. It is difficult to accept, it's difficult for people to change. So you now want to show up differently, and your partner is the one that keeps putting you in that space that, no, this is who you are, and you're wondering, no, I've grown, I'm better, and the person still continues to put you in that place. No, go, you are not, you don't know how to handle money. They are the ones that will continue to enforce that thing. And we need to be aware of it, that once a relationship pattern is established, it is difficult to change. But the good news is that it can change. It can change. That is, unhealthy relationship pattern can change, but it might be difficult for you to change it by yourself, and which is where we come in. I am a relationship therapist and a couple, I'm a couple therapist and a relationship coach. And what I do is help people understand their relationships, understand the dynamics that are responsible for the problems that you are seeing. Because most of the time, people see the fruits of the issue that they are having, and they think that is the real deal. But the real deal is that there are dynamics that are, happening underneath that you cannot see, that is responsible for the issues that you are seeing. And so what I do as a person is help you see and recognize this dynamics and help you to be able to create a change. We have an academy. It is called Swim Relationship Academy. And what we do is help with your relationship. So if you need couple therapy, we are here for you. If you need coaching, we are here. If you need an education, we have courses that are online that you can take advantage of to understand your relationship at a deeper level, to understand your relationship at the level that you are able to make choices. You are educated and trained to recognize these issues, because there are issues that will continue to recur in your relationship. They will be happening in several circumstances, but we're talking about the same thing. And if you are able to understand the general theme of what is happening in your relationship, you'll be able to deal with every single problem that comes your way. And so what we do is generally educate educate you to see where the issues are coming from, And once you recognize it everywhere. When it shows up in the bedroom, you're able to handle it. When it shows up in the sitting room, you're able to handle it. When it shows up as conflict, you're able to handle it. When it shows up as malice, you're able to handle it. When it shows up as in-laws, you're able to handle it. When it shows up, however it shows up, you're able to handle the issue. And so I'll be putting our link down below so that you can, check us out, our website, our social media handles. And if you need any help, I am the lead therapist at Swim Relationship Academy, and I'll be willing to help you. And like I said, next week we're going to talk about how we set up this unhealthy relationship pattern. But like I said, I don't want to go into it today because the time is already fast spent, and if we continue, we may not be able to finish, and I don't want to break the flow. So it is like a cycle, and we need to just deal with the entire thing once and for all. So until I come your way next week, my name once again is Nikki Adekunle, and I will see you later. Thank you very much. Nikki Adekunle is my name, and the name of the organization is Swim Relationship Academy. Until I come your way again, bye for now.